The shadow that bred them can only mock, it cannot make, not real things of its own. I don't think it gave life to the orcs, it only ruined them and twisted them. J.R.R. Tolkien, The Return of the King. Which, I gotta be honest, after reading that line, sure sounds a whole lot like what DEI is doing to the entertainment industry. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. Tales of the Shire is the latest DEI slop mess hitting the press right now, where everyone is looking at this like, what the hell is this crap? Who is in charge of making this? Why does this even exist? And at the end of the day, diving down the rabbit hole, all you find out is it's because DEI is benefiting people in ways that we find out afterwards are typically grants, funds, investments, additional money they're getting by making sure they hit checkboxes. JT. Hit that subscribe, give me a like, and check out smashjt.com for the full article breaking down Tales of the Shire and why it's a DEI slop mess factory being shoved out to the masses that nobody was asking for. The gaming industry has been plagued with projects that seem far less about player enjoyment and far more about ticking the right DEI diversity, equity, and inclusion boxes to secure that government funding and the grants and investor money, because at the end of the day, the people making these games don't have the talent to make a game good enough for gamers to actually want to buy it. So they're finding a different avenue for success. And it's something that's actually destroying not just the game industry, but now massive legendary properties like Lord of the Rings are being invaded by these culture warriors, and this slop is being injected directly into the characters. And the latest offender with the seemingly never-ending slop factory is Tales of the Shire, the new Lord of the Rings game from Wētā Workshop, which looks to be manufactured DEI barfed mess designed solely to extort money from governments and investors while also contributing to the sustained downfall of gaming, all while championing the DEI as the main focal point. Accept it, purchase it, consume it, and praise it. Otherwise, you're a bigot, and we're going to go out of our way to cancel you because we don't want to be exposed for being complete hacks when it comes to development. I mean, I don't want to come off too aggressive here, but this game looks embarrassingly bad for a game that was in development for what looks to be around 10 years, and I'll get to that in a little bit. The game looks like a first-generation Wii game, if not worse. Yet it doesn't stop those gaming shills from pushing this game out there and talking about how incredible it looks and how amazing the game is when we all can see it with our own eyes.
It's bright, sunny, and overall just pleasant, as it should be. The village feels big without feeling overwhelming or annoying to navigate, and on that note, I adore the designer's twist on the compass or arrow pointing you in the direction of your current objectives that so many games use.
Now, I'll be honest, at first glance, when I saw this on the Nintendo Direct a few months ago, Tales of the Shire appeared to be a quaint and cozy experience where you can live your serene life as a hobbit in the Shire. And the game invites people to engage in daily routines like fishing and gardening and cooking and decorating their hobbit home. All things that you might expect from this kind of game. And yeah, on the surface, not a big deal. Looks just like any other simulation game like Stardew Valley or Harvest Moon. It's just taking ideas and thoughts from those, borrowing here and there, and then injecting them here and there in their own game because they have zero originality when it comes to creation. But that's not even the worst part. The evil lurking underneath has reared its ugly head with the latest trailer. Beneath this charming facade lies a far more concerning reality, that it's yet another game engineered to serve the right political and social agendas, rather than a meaningful and engaging gaming experience in any way. Because the people making these games do not care about you. They have one thing in mind: injecting themselves, self-insertion, making sure there's representation, diversity, and equity, inclusion, making sure that everyone's just happy and involved with this, because at the end of the day, it always comes down to the money. Follow the dollar. Who's paying them? Where's the money coming from? The game's marketing heavily emphasizes community building, inclusivity, and diversity, and these concepts are used as buzzwords to appeal to investors and government agencies that are eager to support with a positive social impact. It's a tactic we've seen over and over again. Games prioritizing diversity checklists over quality gameplay, and they end up being hollow experiences. The people making these games do not care. They just don't. I don't care if they put 10 years worth of work into making this game. At the end of the day, if they're taking a crap on a legendary property like Lord of the Rings, ultimately, they care more about fulfilling their own narcissism than they do about making a quality game experience for the masses. And Wētā Workshop's game studio was founded in 2014, so technically, I guess you could say, they have been working on this game for about a decade. That's a lengthy timeline, and it makes you a little bit curious, especially for a studio that was established with the backing of seasoned game developers and film veterans. I'd expect a company with supposedly a huge, long history that have produced multiple titles by now, but no. This, as far as I can tell, is the only game they've ever made. And it took them 10 years to put this out. It's not even out yet. It's been delayed. And the game itself looks like an early generation Wii game. And that's giving it credit. But stop questioning, just consume. Working at Wētā Workshop, on their website, they state manufacturing, design, game development, location-based experiences, tourism, consumer products, finance, marketing, IT, HR, operations, and more. We are a diverse Kiwi company with an even more diverse crew. I don't even need to read any further because they're telling all the government agencies, all the investors, all this DEI propaganda checklist nonsense that, hey guys, we are a safe bet for your money. Just give it to us. Who cares about what slop we put out there? We will produce a game that ensures to promote things that you guys want promoted out there that actually gamers don't care about. Doesn't matter to us. We just want the game to get out there so you guys can pay us. It's what the world's turned into, it feels like, in the gaming community especially, because it takes so much money to produce a game these days, and it's such a large risk that developers now have to lean heavily on guaranteed money to ensure that they can support their own staff. And that's a really unfortunate side effect of the financial situation we find ourselves in. But at the end of the day, I don't care. I'm still going to call this shit out. The game's description sounds like it was ripped straight out of the corporate DEI manual. Gain rewards through your story progression. Join club missions. Help gain official village status. It reeks of the gamification of mundane tasks under the guise of promoting social unity. And if the mere idea of that sounded interesting on the surface anyway, don't worry. DEI is destroying any chance this game had at any success whatsoever. Wētā Workshop marketing claims that their game studio is filled to the brim with creative game developers who are, quote unquote, passionate about making incredible experiences. Yet, what they've delivered so far in these trailers is anything but that. The game concept itself feels like a tired retread of actual better games out there. More engaging life simulation games, but with a Middle-earth skin slapped on top of it. It's as if this studio was more interested in their accolades and funding that come with it than making a game that was actually worth the time for a player to pick it up and enjoy it. Are you sensing a theme with all this? The developer is facing a beyond brutal backlash on Twitter over Tales of the Shire, to the point where they had to turn off replies on their original tweet. And that's not stopping people from quote tweeting this mess, and gamers have had enough of it. The quote tweets reveal an absolute tidal wave of criticism, with hardly anyone expressing any actual genuine excitement for this game. If anything, the people that are saying that they are excited about this game are kind of exposing themselves for being a DEI shill themselves. It all funnels back into this one thing. The responses are filled with skepticism, mocking, and frustration at yet another lackluster title that seems to be prioritizing superficial elements over actual game substance. And it's clear that gamers in general are not buying into this heartwarming Hobbit experience. The social media reception has been nothing short of an epic disaster, and you all know what follows here. They're going to say, this is why gamers are bigots. This is why gamers are bad people. Gamers are toxic. This is horrible. Because this is how they offset the real problems and try to pretend that the propaganda they're pushing is not propaganda. That you're the problem, not them. And if you want to dive even more into the cynicism here, Tales of the Shire is being published by Private Division. It's a label under Take-Two Interactive, one of the biggest game holding companies in the world. Given the involvement of this mega corporation, it's hard for me not to suspect that this game serves a dual purpose to check off DEI boxes and also act potentially as a convoluted scheme to secure tax breaks. Big corporations like Take-Two could use this creative accounting and strategic partnership to maximize financial benefits. And while I cannot prove that, because holy crap, that would be a 6-month deep dive into figuring out what's going on with Take-Two, I'm just putting the pieces together, adding 2 + 2 = 4 and saying, okay, what makes the most sense here? Why would they be going this direction? Why are they obviously injecting DEI into a game where it has absolutely no business being there? It's yet another example of how the industry is leaning into superficial diversity initiatives to secure funding and social clout rather than focusing on producing high-quality games that gamers actually want to play. And this goes back directly on the developers. If you do not have the talent to make a game that gamers want to play, and you start stealing legendary properties and destroying them by injecting DEI into them, gamers are not going to take well to that. You know that. Like, you aren't the biggest moron in the world. Well, I hope you're not, at least. You can see the forest for the trees and see the obvious ramifications of what you're doing. It's not going to be received well by the overall gaming community. It's not that hard to recognize this. What they're doing is basically pissing on you and telling you, drink it up. It's raining, boys. Ultimately, Tales of the Shire exemplifies the ongoing degradation of the gaming landscape, where creativity is sacrificed at the altar of political correctness and getting those great, sweet virtue signal points. The promise of a cozy, heartwarming hobbit life might sound enticing initially to some, but actual gamers can see right through the surface of this. It's not a conspiracy. This game, like many others that lean heavily on DEI tactics, will be remembered as yet another soulless cash grab rather than a worthy addition to the beloved Lord of the Rings franchise. And that in itself is the saddest part in all of this. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. If you guys want more information, check out smashjt.com for the much more thorough article. I will link it in the description below. If you appreciate what I'm doing, hit that join button. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, you stay smashing.
Smash, J,